welcome back to Medical Mondays with Nicrae. I'm very excited to have you here with me on today. And today we're going to be talking about something very serious, very important. But we'll try to have fun with it, as fun as I can be. It's going to be very much informational, rather than like conversational. You know what I mean? Okay. So let's just get to it. Today we're going to be talking about STDs versus STIs. What are they? Like the different list of like what are the STDs, what are STIs, as well as what is the difference between a sexually transmitted disease and a sexually transmitted infection. And then we're going to talk about how can you prevent these absurd things and safe sex and abstinence. Fun. Okay, so as I stated, STD is a sexually transmitted disease, and it's characterized by, or you can get an STD by having unprotected sex with multiple people, with one person. It could be on your first try. It can be after you've done it 100 times. It doesn't really matter. If you come in contact with an infected person, you will get an STD. Same thing with an STI. So let's talk about what differentiates them. Why are they different? Why does one carry a heavier weight to it or a heavier like connotation versus the other one not so much? So let's first talk about what STDs are. So a list of some of the STDs, I just wrote them down just because I don't want to like get on here and fumble and be like, oh my God, I forgot one. But the most common, just because there could be some that have not been discovered or are not normalized or not talked about as often, that I just don't know about. So I'm going to give you the ones that are the most common, the ones that typically they are testing for when you go to a gynecologist or when you go to a primary care physician. So STDs include HIV, and then those are separated into HIV-1, HIV-2, and then AIDS, hepatitis, herpes, syphilis, and genital warts. And all of those are characterized by different things. So the huge thing for STDs, they do not go away. They are typically caused by They're viral infections or they're viral diseases. And these viruses do not go away. So you're stuck with them for the rest of your life. So if you have an STD, there's no going back from that. And you will have to tell every person that you sleep with that, oh, you have this. I had this conversation with someone too, like if you have or someone has HIV and you don't tell them that you have HIV and you know that you have HIV, you can go to jail for that because it's premeditated murder, because HIV is the most fatal STD. So you have to be very mindful and very careful about who you choose to sleep with. So now that we've gone over what STDs are, let's get into what STIs are. So STIs, like I said before, are sexually transmitted infections. So the difference between this one is these ones you can typically get rid of through medication. But what's interesting about some of the infections are if you do not treat them in a timely manner, they can present themselves into diseases or can progress into something that could possibly be either fatal or could cause infertility. So let's talk about what some of the sexually transmitted infections are. So that could be trichomoniasis, gonorrhea, chlamydia. Typically gonorrhea and chlamydia come together, but you could get gonorrhea without chlamydia, and just like you could get chlamydia without gonorrhea. Mycoplasma genitalium, and then pubic lice, or like the street name for them is crabs. So those are all ones that you can get rid of via prescription. I think some of them might have a shot for them, but most of them are through like some type of oral antibiotic, because they're infections, they're caused by bacteria. And so you can get this through oral, vaginal, anal, penile, and sometimes for the infections, depending on the ones here, you could have it and be asymptomatic. So that's why it's very, 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 very important to get tested if you have a new partner, or if you had unprotected sex, or whatever the case might be. Cover yourself, because you don't want to like wait until, and you might not ever have symptoms, but you don't want to wait until like things get super bad and then you go in and then things just blew up when they could have been an easy solve. So don't ever feel afraid to go to the doctor, because a lot of the time, when I worked in the doctor's office too, you'd be surprised, a lot of people have these concerns or have these issues, and whether they be STDs or STIs. So the reality of it is it's real, but it can be avoided. So let's talk about prevention, how to avoid it, so you don't ever have to have that uncomfortable conversation with someone, or you don't ever have to have that uncomfortable visit with your gynecologist or your primary care physician. So prevention, in general, the best way and the 100% most effective way for you to never get an STD is abstinence. Whoop whoop! Abstinence. Keep those legs closed until you have a ring on your finger, and then they can be open for business. Whatever, open them wide. But in that same sense too, because sometimes people who are married also get STDs if the partner is unfaithful. So that's a different like field there. Let's just hope the people that we are engaging with, and the people that you marry, are trustworthy and would never do that, because that's like another thing too, is like if your counterpart or your husband or your partner wants to go out and sleep with someone and someone else that's not you, not only is it disrespectful, but it's putting your life at risk, because you don't know what those other people have. And I'm going off on a tangent. I always do that. I need to get back. Okay, how to prevent it? Like I said, abstinence. Or if you have already lost your virginity, you've already engaged in sexual activity, but you want to become anew, then celibacy is also another option. Just don't have sex until you're married, which could be easier said than done for some people. But those are the most 100% effective ways to not get an STD or an STI. So other ways we can discuss are using condoms. So there are female and male condoms that you can use. So you can use, and there's so many different brands too, or different like options. They have ones that are thinner, that are thicker, things like that, to accommodate your needs and your wishes and things like that. And also another thing too is some people think you can't get like an STD through anal or through oral. You can definitely still get an STD or an STI through anal or oral, so be very mindful of that. So you can still use a condom during those times. And the thought might appear like, oh well, it's not going to feel the same, it's not as good, but would you prefer to have an STD or an STI versus a moment of pleasure? That's just like a conversation you have to have with yourself, and make that decision. It's on you. You know what I mean? It's on you. But like I always say, STDs and STIs do not discriminate based on who you are. They don't care. They don't care who you are, where you live, where you from, how much money you make. If you come in contact with a person who has an STD or an STI, you are gonna get it. And that's just that. And I shouldn't say like just come in contact like you breathe the air. Like it's not, if you breathe the air, you're not gonna get it. But if you come into sexual contact, then you will get it. I should have said that better. I'm sorry. And as I said before, just remember, the longer you wait to get tested, the more complicated you can make situations. The more complications you basically could lead into. So let's just keep our legs closed, practice safe sex, things like that. Also, oh my God, the biggest one. I totally forgot this. If you do use sexual toys or vibrators or anything that is going inside of you, or on your private area, make sure that you are sanitizing those, because those can also harbor bacteria and you can get, if they're not properly cleaned, you can get yeast infections, you can get bacterial infections, you can get STDs, or you can like spread it. So like if you have an STD or an STI, or let's just say an STI, if you have an STI, you go to your doctor, you get treated for it, and then you go back and use your toy or whatever the case may be, and you do not sanitize that, now you've just placed the wonderful STI back in you. And so now you have to re-go to the doctor because you have it all over again. So make sure that you're sanitizing anything that you're using that's coming in contact, as well as not sharing toys. We used to have that conversation with people at the physician's office all the time, and I just never thought about like, and we didn't learn that in school either, like, and it never occurred to me. And I was like, oh wow, that's a really good fact to tell people. Like, make sure that you are sanitizing anything that is coming in contact, because you're just spreading the infection back into your system if you're not properly cleaning those implements or tools. So I hope this video was helpful. I know we talked about some very serious things, very serious conversations. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments below. If I spoke out of turn, leave them in the comments below. But don't derail or don't like be mean to me though. I don't care. Be mean to me. I really don't care. But that's all we have. So check out for our next video, I will be talking about human papilloma virus, which is HPV. So I look forward to seeing you next Monday. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.